Hello, royalties. Welcome to another video with Maris 3. Royalties of peace during the storm, back to peace that have no storm. Yes, we have known so many different royalties, and some royalties we've been, and now we don't even want to be called royalties. And when we get to discover or rediscover the royalty, the true royalty we are of peace during the storm, back to peace that have no storm, this is all we want to be. Enough of all the unrealistic royalties. But I tell you, fiction or non-fiction, a lesson become a blessing. Okay? Knowing that the physical that we are is only getting to a better. That we'll realize that even of those royalties we call unrealistic begin to make some sense because we are able to have lessons from them that becomes blessings to enable strengthen the reality of royalty we are. Okay, today is June 8th of 2021, and I'll be bringing to you a video on forgiveness. Our last video was on peacemaker, right? And we had opponent, and we had team maker, opponent, peacemaker, and today I thought, why not talk about forgiveness? Because it links with peacemaking, right? When you're a peacemaker, you want to be you want to build your strength in forgiveness. I was mentioning in the video, the last video of peacemaking, like it's all about of starting with yourself, the mind, right? And that's where we all really meet because the mind is like a drop of water of the ocean that we are. That when you put all the minds together as like an ocean, we don't want ripples of these drops of water, right? We want to make sure that our ripple that we are making, we are peaceful the ripple so that we don't want to have a chaos of all, if all the drops of water were one with all their ripples, what a great storm that will be. We don't want that, right? We don't want that. So we want to start with the mind that we are peaceful in the storm, back to peace that have no storm. Of every opportunity, we are able to enable at least some distance covered. Should we only keep on advancing? That even when you by mistake step back, you don't give up on yourself, but motivate yourself to keep on strengthening to move forward. In your mind, your head, your mind should be forward, right? In the sense that when you get to a place of unforgiveness, you will remember that forgiveness is your name, right? Now, like I was talking about team player, I mentioned of two teams. I was saying team one and team two because of the mind, we know of the characters. We all are the good character, right? The good character being forgiveness, peace, gentleness, all the beauties, right? That keeps us traveling the road of peace during the storm, back to peace that have no storm, with no affliction triggers or afflictions or a storm, right? So every other of disorientation or a storm or an obstacle in the way of this true us is unrealistic. It's not supposed to be. It's like a sickness, and we are the sick one, right? It's not a character, it's not a being. The being is only the good that we are. That now the sickness now becomes the obstacle in a way, which is unforgiveness, that we need to convert back to forgiveness. Like I say that there is no way destruction could ever exist before construction, right? Construction is positive, it should be positive. That even when you constructed knowing that you're out for destruction, must have had a reason why you were out for destruction. Maybe you're just remembering yourself being your only purpose of origin is becoming of destruction, forgetting the true you, because you know when you want to go for revenge, you don't even remember the good side of you anymore. You just want to be able to revenge. That when you revenge, after the revenge, you're like, oh boy, what did I just do? Like everyone could want to stop you, and you're like, you know what? Just keep your peace to yourself, forgetting that you are peace in the first place. It's like, what is going on? Sickness, the sick one. Before you see the sickness, remember who they were before that sickness. That they have forgotten, you'll be their reminder. You'll be the light on the hill so everyone can get their light back and stop stumbling, right? That's why this is why I call for peace during the storm, back to peace that have no storm, and which is only by edification, not condemnation. It's not easy of a habit now that we all try to condemn each other, of a long time not realizing the difference between the sickness and the sick one. The worthy we are now in a disruption, right? Are we late? No. The mind lives forever. That even when you think that your mind is here to, and that's all about it, you realize that you leave it with others, right? And they're growing with it. It's like you still advancing. You know what I mean? 2050 will get to see you, of everyone talking about you. People that lived in 1918 were talking about them like it was just yesterday. But this is like ages. When I look at my age now, I'm like, oh boy, you know what I mean? Amazing how our minds are. Amazing how we are. We are higher beings. Not to talk of every other being, we of all humans are higher beings. We need to really get ourselves established. We reinstate ourselves back to worthy. Okay? Knowing that the sickness can be healed. There's no problem without a solution. Now, when you think you're only that unforgiveness, and then after you've committed the act, what comes to you is regret. And sometimes a complicated grief that you need someone to hold your hand, like, please hold my hand. I can't take this alone, hold my hand. You know what I mean? And all you get is lullaby. Lullaby never fails. Even the one lullaby, you never get hurt. You know what I mean? Because the lullaby is like therapy to both of you. It's either prevention for the other and treatment for you. You know what I mean? Peace still in the storm, back to peace that have no storm. So let us keep on advancing with the understanding of this journey of peace still in the storm to peace that have no storm. Please, royalties, remember why we are royalties. We are trying to peace through the storms and keep our name, our realistic name. Why are we called royalty? We cannot throw it into the trash. No, there's no trash in the first place, because all we have to recycle, which is correcting them all back. It's not like a bottle that you recycle. Bottles are so limited to be recycling. You know what I mean? You never know where they've gone to. But of your mind, they're only in your mind. So why? It's easy to recycle them, right? Because it's your mind. It's all of your mind, and you cleansing yourself. It's peace during the storm, converting unforgiveness to forgiveness, converting sadness to joy. Every step you take is like growing, right? You are like developing, and of a word becomes action. The action becomes is it habit, and then habit a character, right? And when it gets to be a habit, you want to try to not let it become a character, right? Because habits are hard to break, but you can break them. Meaning what? Habits are hard to convert, but you can convert them. Now, when we use the word break, we've known so many kind of breaks that we don't want to be using words, when it comes to therapeutic chances we are getting. We also learned of the last video that our last video, we got to learn of a last video of the dignity therapy, right? You enable each other have dignity therapy of every stage, not only when someone is the flesh is passing on. You can start it because we have a terminal disease, which is getting the state of the mind of who we are. We come into this world crying like a baby and growing. You don't know where you're going to. You're learning new things and differentiating between the you and the other, that is the sickness, right? That when you cry, someone wants to comfort you. You get upset, you get irritated, you want to eat, you cry, all this from a child growing up. Then you begin to realize that, hey, which one is me and which one is the sickness, right? We don't get to be told this, so we get so off the line. Sometimes we just become what we think is not even us, and then to heal it now is like, I can't get rid of me. I can't get rid of me. You know what I mean? And it becomes a jeopardy. Like, if we could just know the difference of what to tell a child and how to grow, you'll be better. You know what I mean? Even to see that, why would you even want to be thinking of, I don't want to talk too much about it yet, but it's leave it unto self to really judge and really realize that we have a lot of work to do. And if we really have to solve this problem, it's a war zone. You don't want beauties in a war zone. You know what I mean? When men are going to for war, they're like, women, stay back. Stay back. Like these days, even seeing women in the army, they're still limited. You know what I mean? They're still treated like not equal when it comes to the men when they're in the war. You know what I mean? So you know that the fragile one is supposed to be out of the. It's not supposed to be in the war. It does not mean that you have to kill someone. You have to stay peaceful in the storm, right? We realize that how do you even have intimacy when you're at war, right? How do you even get to have that intimacy? What you need is care for each other. That is the true love that you need when you're at the war zone, caring for each other, being the humanitarian, the humble pride, humility, and I'm here for you, like we are one in the name of, you know what I mean, of being alive, of being life, of being safe, being peace. You don't even think about romance, you know what I mean? You don't think about all that. Okay, when war is out there, you don't think about that. Like, what time do you even have to lose that energy? You want to be able to be for each other of encouragement. So when we think about it, we need to realize how much we need to work on ourselves, not like abruptly, gracefully, making sure we are really catching on who we truly are of the mind. Okay, establishing the true love, which is caring for each other. Caring for each other. The number one love is caring for each other. Like, I cannot discriminate. Okay, everyone has have to be loved the same. You know what I mean? That's what we do in the team. Look at your teams all around out there and see what you do. That even the one that you think is like an enemy, even in your team, when it comes to the end goal of the team, you don't even see that enemy anymore. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that that goal gets through. You know what I mean? We have to get to this place of blindfold to the enmity and see the reality of taking care of each other. That you begin to realize that the one that you will call, the bad one, is only having a disorientation of who are you? Are you the disease or the sick one? Have you been able to differentiate between those two and work on yourself? You know what I mean? It starts with self. Be the God of self, right? So understanding this, I did mention of examples, okay, of peacemakers, be free and all that, right? And so today I thought we should look at forgiveness. Forgiveness is our name, is us, right? The topic was first on forgiveness, and I'm like, wait a minute, forgiveness is not a being, and this I cannot, I shouldn't forget. We are growing together, and we have to stay stable. We have to stay strong with who we are. Before, this is what you see how we've been making this mistake. That would be the thing that unforgiveness and forgiveness are like partners. When we say they are team, like team one, team two, it's like someone said in my mind, like I could really, it's interesting how the mind is like a table where we all meet. That even when you question yourself, some other questions come and you're like, wait, did I just ask myself this question or someone else asked me? It's like an adult asked me. You know, you know what I mean? Like, don't touch that cookie. You hear a big voice, like your mother's voice saying, do not touch that cookie, even when you're a grown up. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't tell myself that way. Who is that talking in my head? Is it my mom's voice since when I was a kid? You know what I mean? So there's this over self of us, that the God of self. You know what I mean? You really need to enable to make it work right for you. Okay, not to shame you, not to hurt your feelings or cause affliction, but to serve you. Serve yourself, okay, of dignity. Give yourself dignity. We try every day. You know what I mean? We should keep on trying, and not only trying of self, but encouraging each other. Talk it with each other. Talk it out. Some get to forget. You know what I mean? Now when I started the topic with unforgiveness, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, hello, sound mind of today. You're getting more sound, okay, of all your experiences. So what do you enable out here? Some know all this, but we cannot talk about it because of, I don't want to make someone feel bad and all that. But when you start talking about it, oh, you will not believe how much great minds are out there, even greater, that you'll be like, whoa. This is why we need table talks. Do not say, "Oh, my talking is going to be so silly." It's not. It's not scholastic. So I can't even say anything. You will not believe what you can ignite out there, that everyone will take it. You know what I mean? It's gonna like spread, like, and when the scholastics take this, it goes really higher into the thrones of royalties. Okay, it goes into the presidencies. You know what I mean? So it's time for us to begin to see that, hey, every little seed matters, so long it is to enable a wealth and health. Okay, we need both to be of self. Okay, so understanding that to my point of view, what is forgiveness? Right? Forgiveness is being able to release yourself from a difficulty, or release yourself, okay, from a burden, and also helping another release themselves from a burden. Right? It's taking an obstacle away from your way, and also the way of the other. Right? But now it is you being able to enable this forgiveness is really clearing out every obstacle in your way. But how do you help the other take away the obstacle of their way? Is telling them, reminding them, so they become sound of mind and be able, you start it for them, right? For them to continue. That you start yours and continue because you are able to use of self-action, right? But you only study by of words, and they to use the action, because practice makes perfect of self. You cannot practice for another, right? Only they can practice of themselves. All you can do is only encourage them, lullaby them, right? Enforcement with no hostility, right? Of best, of friendship, of mutuality and caring, right? This is what we try to enable without enabling any affliction or triggers. It's not about going to help someone by bringing in romance, thinking that it's going to find a way through to help them. At the end, it becomes a pain in the neck. Whatever that romance may bring may interrupt the beauty we're trying to build in this one, right? This is why they always tell among professionals, do not be in love with your clients. The doctors will say, do not dare, do not try to be in love with your client. They need to heal, right? There's something about romance, right? The romance love is like an upside down love. It's a test love, okay? You would think that it's rejected. Oh no, it's a test love, that when you know how to work, it helps you reorientate yourself of who you are, of the beginning of that is limited to even define you, right? You need to first of all find the true you, which is loving all, the mutual love of loving all, the love of all, okay? The friendly love that we all share, okay? And that love, what is that love called? It's called filial love, okay? This is what they call this love, filial love, right? The filial love is the love of all, right? Of mutuality, friendship, that have nothing to do with it, with romance, or getting in someone's private space, right? It's amazing how when we begin to understand the differences of this, we can enable of self-worth, okay, and how to distinguish among self when we need help, what not to make and become an obstacle in our way when we need to regain of self and health of the mind, okay. Look for the most effective of self and heal. That understanding what forgiveness is trying to enable obstacle not to be in our way, by being able to enable the word of thought. My thought processes the word, and the word I want to use for myself, I also give it to you. But now you to be able to take the word and make it into action while I am making mine into action. If you don't make yours into action enough, you'll be short of becoming of forgiveness, because you need a whole of forgiveness, right? Now when I'm able to make the forgiveness myself and you in denial, I will not, how will I keep myself to be productive of this forgiveness, is by making sure that I keep of practice, by keep on lullabying you. I will not give up. If I give up, I have started going back into unforgiveness without knowing. And going back unknowingly, it's really dangerous, because undiagnosed, a disease that cannot be diagnosed is a jeopardy, because you're sick without being known that you're sick, and then you're not diagnosed, and it grows without you knowing, and before you know it, you know what I mean? And it's like starting from where they have to find out is when you're already, another hard case to start unwinding. It becomes a habit already before you begin to know that. You know what I mean? So it's time to begin to know exactly what are we really looking for to stay productive, is of being like a journey of traveling. You never stop, right? So trying to remove this obstacle is very, very important. For example, like, and then what would unforgiveness be? The unrealistic side of us, right? It is only an act and not a being. Forgiveness is the being, right? Being that is able to process and enable word from thoughts and to action. But unforgiveness is only an act, right, of refusing to let self free due to ignorance, right? Refusing self to be free due to ignorance, thinking you're keeping the other captive, right? Is the act, okay? And we're trying to correct the action. I plead we understand, okay, the two differences. We are a being. We have this act, this disease, this that we're trying to correct, right? We are a character, a characteristic of a character, right? Knowing that unforgiveness is only a characteristic of a character of being. So, of being forgiveness, I try to enable this example of maybe like a shoe, right? If you have a shoe that let me say three of you live in a home, and there's this shoe that you all love so much, right? You got this shoe and everyone wants to wear that shoe. It's so much, of style and the brand, and it's an expensive brand, more popular shoe, right? Luxury shoes, you know what I mean? Like something like Louis Vuitton shoe, right? So you have this beautiful shoe, and you three of you wear the same size. If the first person wears this shoe, let me say you bought three pairs for you and all of three of you in the house. So the first person, you wear the shoe first, and you started walking your way, right? And you realize that the shoe is hurting, but you're like, okay, maybe with time it's gonna feel free on my feet, right? Maybe the size that you thought was going to be is not the size, because sizes vary, right? For European shoes and American shoes, or African shoes, right? European sizes look a little bit smaller, or how to equalize the shoe sometimes is difficult, of sizes, right? So if you've worn this shoe thinking that, okay, with time it's going to feel a little bit loose while you're walking, and then to really reach 7 miles, it's like, I can't even take this shoe anymore. To return back is like you have to take it off your feet. If not, the soreness of your feet is going to be the one you can't even walk. You know what I mean? And returning back to be able to take off the shoe, it's like 7 miles away. It's like, wait, how can I reach home? It's like you get stuck at that 7 mile of should I continue or return home or take off the shoes? You want to take off the shoes, right? So, but even if you try to manage to get back home, you take off the shoes, your feet are sore. Now, of the second person, if you don't tell the other people that, hey, this shoe, I tried it, make sure you try it at home and really walk around the home first before you take it. The second person takes the shoe and wants to try it, but they are able to reach half a mile and say, you know what, I don't think I can continue this shoe, and return back home. Their feet will be hurting, but it will not be sore that much that they will need to be, struggling like you in band-aid feet, right, in ice water. Okay, and then now they have not been able to go a longer mile, just with just half a mile, and realizing that they can't keep this shoe no matter how much they like it, and returning back, and you are like meeting them and telling them the story, and they're like, oh boy, so let's tell the other person so that they don't get to wear this shoe, right? You didn't get to tell the other people because you were so lost, you were so you were so caught up with your sore feet, right? And you didn't have the chance to tell them, and you're so distracted with your feet. And now having this one coming back and like half mile away is able to announce, like, hey, that shoe that you bought, man, that shoe. You're like, oh yeah, you're right. Listen, I see my feet. Look at me, and you're telling them, and telling this two, and there's this other one. And like, oh, then we need to really tell number three, because number three doesn't have to wear this shoe, because we never know what number three can go through. Number three is the youngest of all, you know what I mean? So youngest meaning that is the last one to wear it, right? So we need to make sure you call that one to come and like, hey, really? And then this one is able to see the sore of the first foot, and seeing the second one. The second one is like, my feet didn't get to be like that, but I tell you, it hurts. It hurts. I only went just half a mile, okay? And look at my feet is hurting. So don't even try wearing this shoe. And this one is free from wearing the shoe, right? This is why it's good to be friends. Table talk is very important. We need to be able to have table talk. It doesn't matter if you have just a little something to say or a lot to say. Okay, that the one had the soft food is someone that is so much of importance to make an example of experience and demonstration and all that. You're only able to go only have a mile, having no wounds or any sore to show the other. Okay, does not mean that you don't have something to say, but your half mile as an eye. You know what I mean? An eyebrow. Okay, that the last one will not be able to endeavor to be of that fall. Okay, let's table talk. This is why we need to be humanity. What is humanity? Let's remind ourselves, what is humanity? We are like an ocean, drops of water. There's no way we can apart from each other. No matter how you separate, water will always pull water, right? We've all seen that when water is close to water, they just get close. It's like a magnet that you don't see. They just get close to each other. And if the one have a storm, have a ripple, they all have the effect of a ripple. Sometimes you don't see it because it's only one drop, but I tell you, they all feel it. Okay, that like a half mile. If you don't announce it, you will have the 7 mile. You know what I mean? So it's time to begin to be like, hey, you know what I mean? I just had this pain, so be careful. Sometimes you say, but when I said it, that's when everyone started having it. What is that to us? If we all are having it, then you know what? No need of adding another water, because it means we are contaminated water. How do you put clean water in contaminated water? It's just a question. Let's reflect. I know you all understand what I'm trying to say, but I won't talk too much about it because myself, it was a struggle, okay? But I tell you, when I'm able to see reality, let's really call it reality and really fix it. The flesh the flesh gives way. Even if you think you stay here, but this flesh is so stiff, it's so complicated that you gracefully let it go. But how do you let another wear it? Okay, let's really reflect and think about this. The last one is supposed to be free from pain. Okay, understand what obstacle is in our way. Being true to self, forgiveness. This is friendship. Okay, how do you become peacemaking if you're not a forgiving one? How do you think you make peace for the last one if you didn't tell them? That they will say, so all of you had this pain and no one could even mention it to me? How can I even trust you? Hey, whatever you say. You know what I mean? I'll just do what I can do because I'm tired. You know what I mean? The way this last one will feel the pain, all of you too, that have tried the shoe will not feel the pain the way this last one will feel the pain. That even if they worried and went 10 miles, it will just be like the most ridiculous pain ever. You know what I mean? That even if they worried and really had to even go more than half a mile, it's not gonna be easy because they know because this one seeing that the other two have been won meaning that they can wear it even longer. You know what I mean? You're not saying anything and the shoes speaking their own language. The clothes, the flesh we wear may be speaking a different language from the mind we have. You know what I mean? You may see a senior and saying that, oh my goodness, they look so tired, but their mind is so sound. Okay, you will not believe what can come out from that mind. You'll be like, wait a minute. You say, oh, that jersey he's wearing, he has been wearing one for so long. It's how much work he has done. But I tell you the truth, sometimes it's how you take care of it. Okay, now you start asking for the ages, and they begin to realize that some people have gone through a lot only within 5 years. That some people haven't gone through it of 6 years. You know how you begin to diagnose your patient, like I said, matters. Okay, you need to have a care plan because you never know who has done what and gone through what and how. People, I said, the glass falls, it becomes into pieces, different pieces and irregular. We need to be very careful how we treat each other out here. At the end of the day, it's all about giving dignity, okay, of best we can. It's not easy. Sometimes you may feel like revenging, but when it happens of sudden by mistake, what do? Do you stay condemning yourself and enable another one again? What you do is you edify yourself, reminding yourself. I'm not saying that you should not remorse. You have to remorse. You have to have some regret of being able to enable that again to happen. But what do you not fail to do? Do not fail to remind yourself of how much you have been able to establish of yourself. That this one has been punching me. They punched me 10 times before I gave them one. I didn't really mean to. Okay, I really tried for so long not to punch. It's 10 times that they punched before I gave one punch. And I regret the punch. And it's like I started all over again. But remember that you are 9 free. That you used to go punch, was 10 on 10, right? 10 by 10. But now it's 10 is to 1. Okay, see that brighter side of you and recover. You have to be able to recover yourself. Please, royalties, I'm saying this like it is for us all. Now it's for me to take it into action. That you may be taking more into action than I. But now you being able to take it into action, do not forget me by also being my lullaby. We all lullaby each other. Like I said in the other videos, that sometimes have the word and others just have the action. That we need to just put it together and we work like a team and we make it work. Okay, you be my encouragement of how to get to know how to practice upright to achieve it, and I have the word to enable you to receive it and be able to get your practice going. Okay, we fall into different pieces. Please, let's begin to realize that and really get back into sound mind, understanding what we really need of each other, not unforgiveness. Okay, forgiveness. Number one is table talk. We need table talk. That Google, YouTube has given us a place to enable this. Okay, people have been thinking. Okay, they even ask you what's on your mind on Facebook. It's like, what are you missing about that? You see what people are writing on what's on your mind, but at least they're trying. They're writing something. You know what I mean? Be it a joke or not, be it a fiction or non-fiction, make a lesson out of them. That you don't believe that some entertainment are only like therapy to you. That when you begin to use them right, you begin to see your achievement of going better. But now, do not let this one silly swallow them up by enabling them of what you have in your mind for them to help use that silly to enable themselves grow like you have enabled yourself grow with it. You know what I mean? Please, let's peace still the storm. I beg we begin to understand where I am going to with peace still the storm, back to peace that have no storm. Okay? You see someone is so funny, a joker, oh my goodness, but you want to go see them, you're like, they are depressed. They have been struggling with depression, and the way they want to heal is to come and be a clown to you. And then after you're done laughing, they go sit back and they're crying. People pleaser. People pleaser. It's not it's a complicated ride. There's nothing wrong. I was trying to say it's not wrong, right? Because there's a good side about it, right? People pleasers is a complicated ride. Okay, but now the thing is, you are not seeing your own part that you need to enable this one to understand that you care about them, like they care about you. Okay, why are they only people pleaser? Because you are not playing your own part of taking care of them, to keep them, to see that what they're doing is enabling you heal. Can you also heal them of their own struggles, right? Like now that you've been able to play my part, can we talk about yours that you need? Let's talk about it. Peace in the storm, right? Knowing that if it's all about triggers, okay, don't enable triggers. Some triggers that you don't know that you're enabling by being able to have the entertainment and not making use of it for the two of you, of only of yourself. It's like greed that you don't see, right? An act of your character that you don't see that is growing. Now, until this other one throws on you, then you begin to become of arrogant pride on them, like, get the hell out. Is it my fault that you were playing all that? Was it my fault? You know what I mean? So we start throwing tantrums on each other, and then we lose ourselves again. Where is the team? Humanity? We are a team. Team player. Team player. Let's be a good team player. Let's have a table talk. Okay? That if I have to tell you the truth and you're upset about it, it's because you know who you are, but you don't understand why you're feeling of a sudden a different act being you. That you need this table talk to be able to realize that, hey, it's because you're playing the part that is not you, the act. You're acting instead of being you, of being. You know what I mean? That if you're being you that you thought was being on forgiveness, and now you're trying to be the forgiveness, thinking is an act. You also need assistance to understand. We all have fallen into pieces that we are really ugly. You will not believe some thinking forgiveness is an act. I mean, forgiveness is dumb, and then forgiveness is instead the act. I'm laughing, but I tell you, I also might have played that. We all have done everything that you know what I mean? Out of experience, we speak. You know what I mean? Of learning of our environment. It's really sad sometimes when you begin to realize something that you've done. Some laughters are not really laughters, okay? And some ways of tears, okay? Some people say tears of joy. That should not exist. But I tell you, something has to start from somewhere of becoming. Okay, and when you see tears and joy, you're only expecting that at the end it should only be joy at the end. That's what we're looking for when we get to the place of peace that have no storm. There should be no acts of it should be only a being. Okay, our being, our true self, the stability of us. All these acts, enough of them, right? We are correcting them back all into our being. They're like little chips of us falling. The we need to pick them up and correct and put it back on us. You need to take back their place because they're losing. It's like a piece of you that is fallen, right? Is dying. You want to take it and put it back on you so it gets blood and get back to refill and be back your skin, right? We begin to understand that, then we begin to understand what I'm really saying. You know what I mean? So please, let's really try to really get to understand what I'm saying concerning forgiveness. Okay? Then now, to understand that, okay, now, so we know we can never throw away another because we are a being and a being is one. Okay, is one. Peace that have no storm. All right. Now take not my I'm sorry for granted. Right. All has to do with forgiveness. Okay. Take not my I'm sorry for granted will be our next video. Okay. Thank you for watching today. I really appreciate you all. Let's sit back and reflect on this little lesson on forgiveness. Okay, it's a little, but I hope it really ignites something that we can rekindle and we know back to worthy of self of being. Little misunderstandings of self. That was some things that we begin to understand of being that okay, I am forgiveness. You are able to gain your strength back and be able to convert unforgiveness back to forgiveness. If you think you're unforgiven, you remember who you are. You're able to convert. What is only an act, right? Not calling yourself unforgiveness and thinking that you're not forgiving someone, right? If you forgive someone, you're releasing yourself. Yourself is forgiveness. You're releasing yourself from this obstacle, from this prison, right? So remember who you are. Forgiveness. Do not keep yourself in a prison. You lose your motion, right? Like the nurses will do motion exercise, the range of motions to get you back. Like the therapy will come in to start enabling you to stretch your hand, physical therapy, so that you begin to gain back your strength. Will you need all that if you're practicing? Prevention is better than cure. All right, practice your forgiveness and yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself all the time. Enable to be yourself. Catch up of being yourself. If you had forgotten who you are, remember who you are and start becoming of yourself before you get to the gaseous state. Okay, it's worth it. Whichever stage that you are, you can get this because it's us. It can only be you. The other you don't know, but you know you because that's your origin. And when you get there, you know it. But the other you're thinking is looking like you, of finding another new of it is like a whole new topic. Okay, we can never relate with unforgiveness forever. There's always a place where we always want to return back because when you get to the place of revenge, you always feel like I shouldn't have. Like even when you don't regret it, of how many you've done to a place where you have to regret, you turn back to see how much you've level of forgiveness. You want to be like, your complicated grief comes in. You need someone to hold your hand. You need someone to support your neck, your head. Somewhere is hurting that is not even hurting. You know what I mean? Just expressing how much regret and remorse you have of the things you've done. Sometimes you feel like I can never be me again. But hey, how will you not be able to be you? Is the question. How can you not be you? How can I say I'm not married when I'm right here? Like, how does that make sense, right? It's time for us to begin to realize that we cannot deny ourselves. Our forgiveness. Unforgiveness is only an act, okay, that we can correct back. And instability we can enable back of worthy. Not to be thrown away, not to be rejected, but correct back to the right of itself. It's like a puzzle piece that is turned upside down. We have to turn it back to the right so we can see the real picture of us, right? So thank you for watching today, and hopefully you stay tuned for next week on Not Now Take Not My I'm Sorry for Granted. Now take not my I'm sorry for granted. We know that comes to us with forgiveness and unforgiveness, right? Forgiveness is us. The other unforgiveness is only an act. Stay blessed, royalties, and thank you for watching. Stay blessed.